There are some forms of abuse that some people might not recognize. When you think of abuse, you think of somebody hitting somebody or
Embezzling money from the company.
now that's one form that a lot of people don't realize that's a form of abuse is when you take money from one of the clients. Some of the staff do have access to small amounts of money and they don't realize that that is stealing.
Yeah, then also, like when staff come to work and they take our food from our house, that's disrespectful.
You're also coming in, possibly changing the channel.
Yeah.
If the consumers were watching TV, changing the radio station. Um, Abuse just is not always physical. It also can be withholding snacks. If any type of abuse and neglect, not only will you be terminated, but you can be prosecuted, Travis. So you won't just lose your job. That is a criminal act, and you could face serious jail time.
Another sign of abuse is when staff come into the house and take the other client's stuff home with them.
That's why we emphasize any kind of abuse is not tolerated. You will be terminated, and you also can face criminal charges.
Another form of abuse and neglect is when staff, I find this really disrespectful. One staff at night, before third shift comes in, one staff will leave the house early and leave the other two staff to handle.
Another form of abuse and neglect that people don't know is sleeping on the job. We have a policy in place now where our third shift has to clock in every hour and put in the comments part what they did during that hour.
But you understand that abuse is always not going to be physical. And we look at neglect as intentional, but oftentimes it's unintentional, but it's still neglect. Forgetting to give a med at the correct time. Forgetting to give a client his snack.
Forgetting to give a client their showers on a daily basis.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Neglect is not always intentional. Sometimes it's unintentional, but at the end of the day, it's still neglect. Here, we also focus on teamwork. So if you're working with an individual and you get frustrated or you get to the point where you need a break, I would hope that my friend Robert would step in and say, you know what, Zeke, you may need a break. Let me talk to this consumer for a little bit. Let me help you out. So it's not always that they are denying you or trying to get away from you. Every now and then, we have to work as a team. And if I feel like I'm getting frustrated, or if my partner sees me needing help, he should step in.
When you notice one of your peers or one of your friends being abused or neglected, what are some of the traits that you see, or what are some of the body mechanics or how they move or how they talk that you notice that you be like, hey, something's wrong here?
One shuts down. They don't participate in society. They shut down. They're always crying. They don't want to be touched. They feel out of place, like it's their fault.
I know one thing I look at, just in my personal experience, a person who has a lot of power struggles. It could be a person who always has behaviors when they're working with a particular staff, or anything like that. I'm going to look at that more. I'm going to look at that person more and see, what's going on.
Travis is not being Travis. If Travis is not happy, smiling, laughing, then we know automatically, hey, there's something wrong. And Zeke and I are looking at that to see something's going on with Travis. We need to find out if it's a certain staff, if it's a certain time of day. Working with individuals who are nonverbal, it is kind of harder because they can't tell you that something's wrong. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're observing them and as long as you see that, hey, this is not ordinary what such and such does, mm-hmm. You can always pick up on that and be like, hey, something's wrong. A staff that's always, it's got to be their way or the highway. We look at that. you also look at other things in the staff. You know, majority of the thing is just control. You know, everybody wants control. Everybody wants to be in control. But in this field, you have to learn how to. It's a give and take.
Another thing we look at is just how they interact with the clients. You know, you got to observe and, you know, make sure that they are talking to the clients
Yes.
nicely, correctly. They're asking and not telling. Oftentimes we take that for granted and we may tell the consumer to do something as opposed to asking them,
Yes.
even though they should do it, but we still should ask. We should always treat them with dignity and respect. Oftentimes, we have to be the voice for the ones who are nonverbal, and they can't come to the supervisor. They can't go to the management. They can't say, hey, this person is doing this to me. So we have to watch out for abuse and neglect all the time, you know, and we can't just ignore it. And you can't act like, you know, that's not my client, that's not my responsibility.
Right.
Any type of abuse, neglect, I would rather you come to me with something that I may find out later not to be abuse or neglect than to allow something to go on
Right.
saying that you're not sure. So that if a client or another staff come to you with the concern that they know that is going to be taken seriously,
Right.
that is going to be investigated, because we want to make sure that the staff isn't intimidating another coworker or a client. So we need to promote a healthy atmosphere so that they know if something is reported that it is really going to be investigated and there will be no repercussion on the person that's reporting it. Do we deal with clients that make false reports? Yes, we do. But every report has to be taken seriously.
Yes.
Even if they've reported 10 false reports in a row, that 11th one, it could actually be
Yes.
abuse or neglect. So we don't take anything for granted.
You know, it's always important to take every report seriously, and you always want to report it directly to your supervisor, or if you can't get your supervisor, you have a chain of command, you go to your director. If you can't get your director, you go to somebody higher. But we have a list that we keep in the house, and it's a chain of command that you can always refer to.
If you're in a situation where you don't feel comfortable reporting something to your supervisor, maybe you could feel that it is your supervisor. There is the director, the assistant director. So there are many forms, there are many ways for you to communicate the issues or the problems that you have.
So how do you want to be treated, Travis?
I want to be treated like I'm an equal, and not like I'm a person that is different from. I don't want to be treated like an outcast.
What are some things that make you feel like staff are treating you fairly and equally?
One of the things I think the traffic staff is treating me nice when they respect my personal boundaries, when they ask permission to come in my room, when they're not mocking me or invading my personal space when I'm angry.
What are some of the things that you don't like a staff to do?
I don't like staff to mock me. I don't like staff to impersonate me or disrespect me or take advantage of me.
I've always been one of those people that always felt like you should treat somebody how you want to be treated.
Yes.
You believe in that also?
Yes, sir.
It's not a good feeling when somebody downplays who you are or treats you bad because of who you are or where you live or whatever. You know, we all should be treated equally.
We talked about some things that make you upset. Tell me about some things that make you feel safe and comfortable around staff.
Just knowing, one, that I have staff overnights that won't let anything bad happen to me while I sleep. I know it's just nice to know they'll be there to comfort me if I need any help, or if something's bothering me, they always talk to me about it.
So it's important to you to know the staff care about you and that you feel safe as well.
Yes, sir.
What else can staff do to make you feel that they're treating you with dignity and respect?
I look for somebody that's respectful, somebody that's been in the field for a while, that knows what they're doing. That it takes a lot to deal with the clients, and not only the behavior homes, but in general. It takes a lot to be able to put up what they put up with.
Well, you know, I started off in this field. I didn't know what I was doing. And you know what? Through the help of some staff who have been there a long time, I end up blossoming in this field. So I agree with what you're saying. You know, it does help with knowing that somebody has a lot of experience in the field.
And you also do a good job too, Travis. If someone is doing something that you like or don't like, you have no problem in letting them know that, hey, I like this or I don't like this. So you play a big role as well with helping the staff learn you and to make sure that they don't put you in a position where you feel neglected or anything like that. You should not treat people wrong. You should treat them with dignity and respect at all times.